what did you think about the characters and how they came out on paper?
I think I really enjoyed the characters in general. I think there's some characters maybe like Dusty and I'm forgetting Rusty. Well, there you go. I'm glad I forgot both of their names because I forgot the daughter's name as well. Is it Aubrey or
Audrey?
Audrey. It is Audrey. Okay, awesome. So I was close. I was close on both of them. I found that there wasn't a whole lot more that I gleaned from them from being on paper, but both parents, Clark Griswold and Ellen Griswold, I found I gained something just from reading this script. In that, well, for one thing, I found that they were very similar characters. Similar in that both of them seem to be aware of everyone's foibles, and they're almost like winking at the audience, like, this guy, look at how ridiculous this guy is. But while both of them are aware of everyone else's foibles, Ellen seems to be the most aware. She's aware enough that she's not going to be crazy herself. But Clark, on the other hand, is also crazy, and he's not aware enough of himself and his own foibles and excesses.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good observation, for sure. I mean, I would always think of Ellen as the more grounded of the two. But on paper, they do resemble each other a little bit more. Maybe without the delivery, you can't see how she's like softer and in everything and just like kind of like this is the way it is. Whereas yeah.
And that is a good character trait to have, I think, in life.
Yeah. I mean, he thinks of himself as practical too. Like, as you were saying, he's like unaware of his like insanity. But when he's like, we didn't have a tree, so I got a tree. I did the practical thing. Like, I don't know why you guys are freaking out. It's like, okay.
Yeah, you crazy man.
Yeah.
And so stubborn too. Just always seems to want things his way and seems to get into fights with everyone. He's like, everyone is his enemy, like the tree salesman, the country drivers, just like random drivers, the neighbors. Like, he can't get along with anyone.
Because everyone's taking away from his vision of perfection. That movie vision of a perfect Christmas. Yeah.
That's a really good point. I think I'm gonna shout out to some ideas that you've had in the past. I know that you've had like ideas for entire stories that build on that concept. So that's I'm not surprised that you clued into that.
Thank you. Yes, I do live in a fantasy land myself. And it makes for a very disappointing life.
Well, we all have our own fantasies, right?
Yes. You brought up Audrey and saying that you didn't get much more from her or from Rusty on screen. One thing I did get from the script was that she could have been just played straight as well, like similarly straight to the way her mother is like pretty relaxed, which is different than the performance I know it to have been from Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that the like just not wanting to get into differences too much, I will say that like the actors did bring so much, and even though the script is good on its own and the words are there and it's very, very funny, they just brought it up to another level. A thing I noticed in the character description for the neighbors was that they're in their mid-30s, and I was like, they're supposed to be our age? One, sad because like they look older than us for sure, in my opinion, but also look at this huge fucking house they have.
Dude, that was just like the times, right? They're boomers. Yeah. They're allowed to have money and everything that they want. So
I was like shocked that they were. I was like, okay, where's rent coming from next week?
I bet that house cost like just over 100,000 something.
Oh, for sure at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so crazy.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed in the script was when they talked about the guys in the truck who are like riding their tail at the beginning in the opening scene, and then they whip around. When the pickup passes them, you see who the characters are, and in the script it's written a pair of inbred red-cheeked young sheep bangers. And I was like, wow. You really hated on these people, and like to finish with sheep bangers is like, ooh. Okay.
He's really painting a picture. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could have just said redneck Hicks, but he really
Yeah.
went there.
Yeah, in the same way that Clark really goes there later in the script with his boss. So, yeah, you can see a lot of John Hughes' voice in
Oh,
that character.
sure. Oh, okay, Beck. Before we go on, one thing I forgot to mention about Clark. One
Yes.
thing that I found, especially with reading this, is Clark really reminded me of Wile E. Coyote in a way. I I started when I was reading, I started picturing him as especially the talking Wile E. Coyote. You know the one that goes against Bugs Bunny when Bugs
Yes.
Bunny is in there. I could just picture just like Wile E. Coyote has like a business card and goes Wile E. Coyote, super genius. I could picture Clark Griswold doing the same thing, like Clark Griswold, super genius, and he thinks he's so smart. And he's always got the answer, but no matter what he tries, he gets his Acme chainsaw, everything always fails for him and he gets squashed by a boulder or something.
Hilarious. And literally has a chainsaw in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's
Exactly.
not, he doesn't have one nemesis. That's the only thing. Like his nemesis is himself almost, I would say. Like, yes, other people create problems for him, but it's his own like stubbornness that is his biggest like antagonist in this because he could just roll with the punches in a like more calm way, like we said, like Ellen does.
Yeah, but that's the same with Wile E. Coyote. He is his biggest and worst enemy. He sets up these elaborate traps that are bound to backfire on him and he never learns his lesson.
Very, very
Oh
true.
man.